Good morning. We're going to just go over a little bit about formulas and how that relates to using the order of operations and evaluating expressions for a replacement value. So let's do it. So here are some formula sheets. These are the geometry formula sheets for the state of Virginia, but formulas are formulas, so you can find them anywhere, online, whatever. Step 1, choose the correct formula. So you're going to look at the information you're given and choose the formula that is going to apply. Step 2, you need to write down the formula. You need to do that every single time. If you don't write down the formula, then it's hard to know what to put where and it's easier to make mistakes. Step 3, substitute the replacement value for each variable. And when you do that, you need to put each value in parentheses. Step 4, simplify using the order of operations, which we will go over on the next slide. And step 5, you want to check and make sure your answer actually makes sense to you. And that's it. Okay. So you may wonder what the order of operations is if you haven't learned that before. Well, it used to be a P here, but we've changed it to G. The first letter, G, represents grouping. So anything that's in a group, in parentheses, in brackets. Let me grab this. So grouping can be parentheses. It can be brackets like this. It can be absolute value bars. It can be the top of a fraction or the bottom of a fraction. Those are each a group. There's many options about what it could be. You just do that first. Exponents are the little small numbers that are up above a variable or a number. And radicals are those square roots, cube roots, all of that. After you've completed doing the groups and the exponents, then you do multiply or divide. When you do that, you always move from the left to the right. Even if it looks like you want to do another part, always left to right. And the same for addition and subtraction, from left to right. All right, so, let me clear the screen. We are going, what happened? Clear, okay. We are going to follow the steps. So the first step said, use the formula sheet to find or choose a formula. Well, I am not going to go back to that slide. You can see the formula is kind of off here on the side. But this is a rectangle, and we want the area of a rectangle. And I'm going to write from the formula sheet that the area is the length times the width. All right, so we chose our formula, and we wrote it down. The next step is to substitute. So we're going to look at our numbers that are given to us, and we're going to substitute. So the area of this rectangle is going to be equal to the length, I'm going to call that 10, and the width, 8. Please keep in mind that when there is no operation written there, that means multiply. And these parentheses are just kind of holding the numbers, so we use them appropriately. All right, at this point, substitute is done, and now we need to simplify. When we simplify, we use the order of operations. Do we have any groups? No, there's no groups. Do we have any exponents? Any small numbers above? No. Do we have multiplication or division? Well, yes, it says multiply. So we're going to actually do that step now. The area equals 10 times 8, which is 80. So multiply and divide is gone, and you can see there's no more steps, so add and subtract is gone. And the answer is that the area of this rectangle is 80 units squared. We just don't know what the units are. All right, so let's do another one. This one says find the perimeter of the rectangle. Well, looking at the formula sheet, I see that the perimeter is equal to 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Perimeter is the distance around a shape, a figure. It's kind of like a fence. How long is the fence? All right, so we chose our formula and we wrote it down. The next step is to substitute. So we're going to substitute into our formula. Wherever you substitute, you put a parenthesis to hold the number you're substituting in. So for length, we're going to put 8. And for width, we're going to put 10. It doesn't really matter for a rectangle which one is length and which one is width. All right, so substitute is done. Now simplify using the order of operations. We do not have any groups and we do not have any exponents. Now multiply and divide from left to right. So perimeter is 2 times 8, that's the first thing we see, 16, plus 2 times 10. Okay, so we just put that to there. We're going to keep looking. Do we have any more multiplication or division? Yes, we have multiplication right here. So the 16 stays for now, and we're going to multiply 2 times 10, which is 20. No more multiplication or division. Now we're looking for addition and subtraction. So we have addition, so the perimeter equals 16 plus 20 is 36 units. Okay, simplify and check. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. All right, let's do the next one. All right, so this one says find the area of the circle. So I'm going to look at my formula sheet, and it says that the area of a circle is pi r squared. And I feel like it's important to point out that pi, you say it like this, pi, it's a number. It's not a variable. And r is the radius of the circle. And the radius is the distance from the center of the circle to the side of the circle. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the next step. So we chose our formula, we wrote the formula, and now we need to substitute. Area equals pi r squared. Well, what is the radius? The radius is 9. So now we're going to simplify. So substitute is done, simplify now. Do we have any groups? Nope. Do we have any exponents? Yes, this is an exponent. An exponent means you do the same number times itself this many times. So in this case, 9 squared means 9 times 9. And 9 times 9 is 81. So the area equals pi times 81. Now in math, we could actually multiply this pi times 81. And I guess I should do that. Let me grab my calculator real quick. All right, so when I multiply pi times 81, there's a button on the calculator for pi. It equals 254.34. And actually, these should be squiggly equal signs because it's approximately this many inches squared. Now, a lot of the time in math, we actually like to leave it as a perfect, like very exact number. So you could also say that the area is 81 pi, and that would be a great answer too. Okay, so let's look at this one. Find the volume of the cone. Well, first we need to choose a formula. So looking over here, we actually have the formula. Volume of a cone equals 1/3 times pi times, remember, the radius squared times the height. Choose right. Now we're going to substitute. Volume equals 1/3 pi. And in this case, we're given the radius and the height. So the radius is 2 squared, and the height is 8. Using the order of operations, we're going to simplify. There are no groups. There are exponents right here. So the very first thing we're going to do is that piece. 2 squared is 4. No more exponents. Now multiply and divide left to right. When I multiply 1/3 times pi, I write it as pi over 3. You can actually multiply and you'll get a decimal, but I like to keep it this way. Times 4 times 8. Okay, I ran out of room. All right, so we multiplied first these two. Now we need to multiply these two. So volume equals 4 pi over 3 times 8. And we need to multiply one more time these two parts together. So 4 times 8 is 32 pi divided by 3. This is the exact answer. But if you want to approximate the answer, you can type that into your calculator, and 32 times pi is 100, I'm going to do it this way, 100.48 divided by 3. So it equals approximately 33.5 inches cubed. Both answers are acceptable, both the approximated answer and the exact answer. There's no addition or subtraction, so we are finished simplifying. The answer, with what I know makes sense, so that part is done. All right, we're going to find this time the surface area of the cylinder. So you can see we have our formula over there. We chose the formula, and now we're going to write it. Surface area equals 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Remember, the r stands for radius, and the h stands for height. Now we're going to substitute into our formula. Surface area equals 2 times pi, again that's a number, times the radius squared, plus 2 times pi times the radius times the height. Well, we know the radius is 7 and the height is 14. Substitute is complete. Now simplify. When we simplify this, we need to follow the order of operations. We have no grouping symbols, but we do have exponents right here. So the very first thing is we need to do 7 squared. Remember, 7 squared means 7 times 7, so that is 49. Okay, exponents are done. Now multiply and divide left to right. 2 times pi times 49 equals 98 pi. And yes, it seems like I just multiplied those together. I used the commutative property to switch the order because I like to keep pi in my answer, but you could just multiply with a calculator 2 times pi and then that times 49. And I'm going to actually do this part here too. 14 pi times 14. So 2 times 7 is 14, and then this is the other 14. We're going to keep on multiplying until we're finished. So we have surface area equals 98 pi plus 196 pi. That's just 14 times 9, or 14 times 14. And then we need to add. So we're done with multiply and divide. We're going to add and subtract. Since these have like terms, they both have a pi, we can just add the numbers in front. So 98 plus 196 is 294. This is the exact answer. And if we want a simplified answer, not a simplified, an approximate answer, we would do 294 times pi, which is 923.16 inches squared. So simplified, the answer is a pretty big number, seems to make sense. So that is finished. And that's the last example. So I hope you get the idea. Choose a formula, write it down, substitute the information you know in parentheses, simplify using the order of operations, and then kind of check your answer to make sure it makes sense.